Hi, I'm Claire and I have a guest with me.
Hi, I'm Julianne.
So today for Halloween we're going to do the Creatures of the Night tag, in which we just name a bunch of different monster type creatures and we have to give a book that we like with that creature in it. So number one is the vampire, and I kind of struggled with this one. I have more vampire movies that I like than vampire books. The one vampire book that I could think of was Hunting the Corrigan's Blood by Holly Lyle, and I quite like it because it's about vampires in space and it's kind of different.
Okay, well the last vampire book I read was The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, and it's kind of also that whole vampirism as disease thing, which a lot of books do, but I liked the whole idea of the cold towns, which are quarantine areas. So it's a disease, and when people are infected they have to, or they're supposed to go to these quarantine areas which have all the normal vampires hanging out there as well.
Okay.
So they're really dangerous places to be, and they just party all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, number two is The Werewolf. What's your favorite werewolf book?
I don't really have a favourite werewolf book. I've read hardly any. I haven't read any of the trendy ones for, in YA or anything like that.
I had to think a little bit, and I'm going to have to say Gail Carriger's whole universe, like basically the Soulless books and all of the books in that same continuity. My favorite is one called Changeless, which is the second book in her first series, and it's all very, very full of many, many Scottish werewolves, and it's very good.
So the last book I read, the one I finished at the small hours of this morning, is called Blood and Chocolate, and that's a YA book back from 1997, I think it was first published, and it's about a girl who's a werewolf, and it's got some things about it which are kind of problematic, but it does have a really interesting depiction of this girl who is really confident and loves being a werewolf.
That's cool.
And so that's really interesting. So I'm quite intrigued. I want to read some more werewolf books now and see if I can find some more characters like that.
There aren't a lot of werewolf ladies, it must be said. Number three is Zombies, and my favorite zombie book would be Feed by Mara Grant, and that's the first book in her Newsflesh trilogy. And it's basically a zombie book where the zombie apocalypse happened like 15 years ago and humanity survived it. So humanity survived the zombie apocalypse by becoming very, very technically advanced. And so every time you go anywhere as a human in this society, you have to like scan your blood. And it's a story about two bloggers that kind of go on this campaign trail for the US presidential election. And basically, yeah, bloggers are now the major source of news because they were the ones that warned everybody about the zombie apocalypse when the TV crews were just like, nah, it's the flu. And it's a really cool book, but it will give you feels.
I have literally read no zombie books, I think, in my entire life.
No, that was my one word. It was really hard to choose because I love zombie books.
The thing is, I like my supernatural creatures to be kind of glamorous, and zombies really are. They're just gross.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
But I am really intrigued by Feed, the whole blogger news element of it sounds.
No, it is quite good. And if for those of you who don't know, Mara Grant is the kind of science fiction medical thrillery pseudonym for Shauna Maguire. So if you've read any Shauna Maguire urban fantasy, you know that there will be feels. Number four is Ghost, and that is one that I really don't have a book for.
I don't either.
Oh no!
I was like thinking, what ghost books have I read? And I think I haven't read a book. I must have read them, but they just haven't stuck in my head, or it turned out the ghost wasn't really a ghost or something like that, and that doesn't count.
There's a ghost book that I'm looking forward to that's not out yet. Mary Robinette Kowal's next book is about nurses in the war that have paranormal powers, and basically when soldiers die in the front line, their ghosts have to report back to the mediums so that they can talk about what's going on behind enemy lines. So that is something that I'm intrigued by, but it's obviously not out yet. And the title of that is going to be Ghost Talkers, I think. At number five, we've got Witch, Warlock, or Spellcaster. Surely you have a Witch, Warlock, Spellcaster book.
No. No, because you see, when I did the Addams Family book tag, I used up my one witch book suggestion there, which was I just said the Tiffany Aching books because I couldn't think of any other witch books I'd read. I mean, I have read a couple, but I haven't loved them.
Yeah, I love the Tiffany Aching books, and they were a contender, but the one that I'm going to say is one that's a little bit less known, and that is 13th Child by Patsy Reedy. The witch in it is called F, and basically her twin brother is the seventh son of a seventh son, but she is the 13th child, just because, you know, her dad is a seventh son, and they tried to have, you know, enough boys to have the seventh son of a seventh son.
Oh my God.
But they messed up and they had a 13th child, which is really unlucky. So all her life she hears about how unlucky it is, and then she kind of like discovers more different types of magic, and that there are maybe types of magics in which it's actually really lucky to be a seventh daughter. So there's really cool things with the magic system there. So at number 6, we've got Fairy or the Fae.
I can totally do fairy book. I always say Valiant by Holly Black. I have now mentioned Holly Black twice in this list. I really love Holly Black. It's really dark. It's got fairy magic basically as drugs. So fairies who live in the cities, they would get ill. So there's like this stuff that they can use to kind of keep themselves healthy. And if humans inject it, then they kind of get a bit of fairy glamour and to do some minor magic, and it basically makes them high.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so that's like a really fun, dark concept. And also it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast that doesn't involve Stockholm Syndrome.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I haven't read that many fairy books, but the one that I ended up with is the Split World series by Emma Newman, because it's just really also a really dark type of fairy. The concept behind the split worlds is that basically there's two worlds that kind of almost touch each other, and they almost touch in parts of London and parts of Bath, and so you can kind of get between the two worlds by going through certain houses. And so on the one side you've got the mundane world, and on the other side you've got the fate-touched world, and then, you know, they can use magic from the fate-touched world to go into the actual Fae realms, which have like fairy kings that are like super creepy. And so the first book in that series is called Between Two Thorns. Number 7 is Demon, and I was almost not gonna have a thing for the demon book, and then last week I read like 4 demon books in a row.
That's good. You can tell us about them all because I don't have any.
So I went on Audible recently and they had a $5 sale, and it was all kind of first books in series. And they had, I know, you know where this is going. They had the first in the Caragillion series by Diana Rowland. It's like maybe 9 or 10 hours in the audiobook. I did listen to it like in a day. And I just downloaded 4 more straight away. Caragillion, the main character, is a demon summoner, and she can summon demons from the demon realm. She's also a police detective. And she's investigating this case where she's seen some traces of the arcane on the body. And so she starts asking demons for help. It's very fast-paced, there's a lot of banter, there's sexy times. At number 8, we've got Angel, and I do not have an Angel book.
No, I do not have an Angel book.
And then at 9, we have Alien. Do you have an Alien book?
Yes.
Ooh.
Adaptation by Melinda Lowe.
Oh, yeah, okay, I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
So it's got this really great foreboding atmosphere around it. So it starts off and birds start falling out of the sky, and the main character gets into a road accident, and she wakes up in a lab basically.
Okay.
Along with the guy who she was travelling with, and they get released from the lab, but there's something's not quite right, and they have to find out what's going on.
So I don't think I read a novel about aliens that I can remember, but I would say if you haven't, definitely check out the graphic novel Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Saga is amazing, and it's about aliens from different planets that, you know, fall in love and have a family, but everybody else basically wants to murder them because of it, and so they have to flee and stuff. But there's loads of different alien races in it, which is what I really like, is that all the aliens are actually quite different, and they're not like, you know, humans and then green men from Mars. And at number 10, we have Superpowered Human. You have a Superpowered Human book.
Not really. I don't tend to read that many kind of superhero-y books, I suppose. People have powers that tend to be quite specific powers. Like, I quite like it when characters have small powers. You know what I mean? Like they have one very limited power.
Yeah.
So that for me, that doesn't really count as superpowers.
Yeah, and I have to say my one is kind of cheating because my one isn't really about a human. And I don't know that you could say that she's an alien, so I'm going to put her as Superpowered Human. And that is Breck from Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie. So Breck used to be a spaceship that was the ship and a number of ancillary bodies, and the entire spaceship has been lost and there's one body left, but she still has like reflexes of an ancillary, which she still can move like really, really fast, and she kind of is able to know in her mind like what all the crew of the ship is feeling at any given time. So this was the Creatures of the Night book tag, and we had a whole bunch where we didn't really have a book. So if you know any books in the categories where we were a bit more wobbly on what we had to offer, please let us know in the comments what we should be reading. Also, please go and check out Julianne's channels, which are both really, really amazing. Do you want to say a little bit about them?
Well, the main one is Bookish Brits, which is a collab channel. There's a whole bunch of us who post videos on different days of the fortnights. And then I have my personal channel, Better Than Dreams, because books are, where at the moment I mostly post vlogs about the British Books Challenge that I'm completing this year. But I hope next year to kind of do some different stuff with it.
So if you'd like to see any more from Julianne, then check out the description box below for some links. And if you'd like to see more from me, then you can check out some links on the sidebar over there. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button for more videos from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.